Hey, welcome back to another episode of Tune Quest. Today we're looking at Let's Go Back by Jungle. This is a super iconic piano sounding thing, right? It's this thing. It's just so iconic, and I'm really amazed that there are no tutorials out there for this song, so I'm going to make it here for you now. I'm going to teach you this piece. There are only 2 chords, and this song is a masterclass in triads and triadic movement, and you'll see why, okay? So essentially, this song is built on 2 major triads. The F major triad, okay, and the G major triad. It's just a super upbeat, happy sounding song because of these 2 major triads, right? And there's some kind of funky piano moves happening in this that I think are worth exploring, okay? So it starts off with this, right? Okay, this is amazing. What's going on here? This is really interesting. So we're on this G major triad, okay? So you can see that, G major. And we are alternating between this and a C major triad, actually. This is a C major triad in its second inversion, which means that the thumb is going to stay there on G, which is the 5th of C major, okay? So we play that twice, and then go down to the G major, and then C again, G, C, G. Okay, so it's this kind of interplay between these major triads, and it's this kind of very iconic piano sound. I think it's kind of like from gospel. It's just amazing, okay? And that's why this song feels kind of nostalgic, you know? It feels like, oh yeah, I recognize this song. It's so recognizable, isn't it? Okay, so that is the intro into the tune. And then it goes like this. Okay, so this is the verse. This is the verse progression. Let's actually just simplify things to get started, okay, by just playing the root notes and just holding the root notes. So we start on F major, okay? So we'll just hold that as an octave for now. You can do one finger if you want, or an octave, either is okay. And essentially on the right hand, what we're gonna do is this. Okay, so we essentially play this F major triad, the 1st and the 5th together, and then we're gonna land on that 3rd, which is the melody. Da, da. I did not sing that accurately, but whatever. And then 1, 2, 3, and then right, C, D, E, and then it's gonna do this. It's gonna move from F to G, and then the right hand is gonna do this. Okay, this is what's called a grace note, where we're going from one note to the next. Your pinky is on D, and your second finger is on A, and you're gonna shift between the second finger to the 3rd, going to B, like this. And then walk down, like this. And then again, that 1, 2, 3 on G major. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we've got this. And then what happens here is this. We have that thing again, right? At the end of this progression. Okay, that's what we have. And then the second time through, it changes up a little bit, where it goes like this. Okay, the melody just changes slightly, okay? This tune is a masterclass, and Jungle, in fact, in general, is a masterclass on, like, having really simple forms and simple progressions, but, like, being really tasteful with them, right? This is so tasteful. The melody just changes slightly to go... Right? That's the only change, right? Okay, the next thing you can do is level up the left hand to have this kind of pulse, okay? So this is what you would do. You'd just pulse the beat like this on those root notes, okay? right? So that's the next step up. And then the next step up from that is doing this super iconic left hand bass movement where you bounce between the 1 and the 5 of the chord, but down. Okay, so we're on an F major chord, so the 5th is C if you go up to it, right? But if you go down to it, you create this really solid kind of bass movement. And then it's going to do the same thing for G. Just bounces between the 1 and the 5. This is a super iconic bass line on the piano. So this is the next step up, right? And then the next step up from that, you don't have to reach this level right away, this takes a little bit of practice, is to add ghost notes. Ghost notes add a super funky flavor on the piano, and it's essentially where you're kind of like, you're doing these little, these light little taps before you go to the next note, right? That's the left hand. With this extra kind of rhythmic element, right? And then same with the right hand. Notice my thumb tends to do these ghost notes here. See that? See that? Just these light little touches with the thumb. It creates this kind of like rhythmic kind of interest, okay? That's what ghost notes do. Ghost notes are amazing, okay? And it just requires this little touch, right? But that's gonna depend on your finger dexterity and your articulation. This requires being able to play notes at different velocities, right? That's finger dexterity right there, right? Being able to play like, see that? Like, what's the velocity? What's the depth that you can play a note at? If you have a deep depth, if you have a broad depth, you know what I'm talking about, right? If you can play a note like this and a note like this, that is going to like open up so much dynamic expression in your music. And if you can actually like bounce between those different articulations and velocities, that is what creates this amazing dynamic emotion expression in your music, okay? So definitely train that. You can do that by practicing finger exercises. Okay, then we move on to kind of like the chorus, I suppose, it's where you have this like this kind of like barbershop quartet choir type thing, where they're going like this. No. Okay, so the first thing I'm doing here is I'm changing the left hand a little bit, just for some interesting shift in our piano arrangement. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm just playing this arpeggio, root 5, octave 5, on F, and then on G. And then back to F. Okay? You can do this down here if you want to as well. It's up to you. Now, the melody that's going on here, it starts on C, A, and then okay, so C, A, E, walk down like that, and then D, B. Of course, I'm adding these extra notes from the chord as well. And then it finishes up with this. It's the same chord, it's just a G major. Again, this is a masterclass in tasteful writing, really. That same descending movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, descending, and then finishing here. And then back to the top. could maybe... You could do that thing, and then go back into the first section. And then you could go to that second section, maybe up an octave if you wanted to. And if you want to experiment with improvising on this, just take the notes from the triads that we're working with here, okay? So on F, you just take the notes from F major, which are F, A, and C, and just kind of play them randomly in a random sequence, like... And then on G major, you take the notes from G major. Yeah, and just play around and have fun with it. And I think that's the end of the tutorial. So I hope you got something from this, and I hope you learned some of these kind of iconic, especially this one. That's just so iconic. That's like throughout so much music. And it's just great to know how to do this. Essentially, like, you're going between one major triad to the next with such minimal movement. It's such economy of movement. That's kind of like a term where, like, you go from one chord to the next chord by moving as little as possible. And this is also going into voice leading here, because check out this G major. This note is super close to this note. That's why this works and why it feels so good. Likewise, this note is pretty close to that one as well. And of course, that note is staying the same, right? Here's a practice for you if you want to develop this. Take a major triad and see if you can do it on that, right? So this is C going to F major and back. Okay, you could do it on, like, this is D major, so that would go to G major. And then just, like, yeah, just try it out on all of the different major triads. Try C major, C sharp major, going to F sharp major. You know, B flat major going to E flat major. It's just so iconic, right? And if you have that kind of language in your fingers, you can just pull it out at any time and it feels good, right? That's why I teach Tune Quest, because we're not just learning tunes here. We're learning what we can learn from tunes, and that's what we can learn from this one. Back on, oh my god, I literally forgot the song name. That's my cue to end this video. Good luck, see ya.